All right, guys, welcome back to the GSL Up and Down match.
That's right.
A Marine, a Hydralisk, and a Zealot.
Friends forever, BFFs. I can't even say BFFs. Ah, well, you know, we just saw some carriers.
I know, I think that might be affecting your brain a little bit.
I think so. I mean, there's a foreign fan that comes almost every time. I talked to him between the games. He was like, those Void Rays in that last game sure looked funny, and they were shooting all these little things. I don't know what, that must have been a bug or something. And I'm like, I know. This is the strangest looking Void Rays I've ever seen. What was the deal with that? But yeah,
and, you know,
cool
we
build.
talked a little bit also about how we don't know if that was necessarily carriers. I think
it was a little bit of luck, too.
Carriers can be quite good against Ghosts in this case because you have a later starport.
It's true.
But imagine a different scenario with this game where Keen runs up after, you know, the force fields fall down, he kills a few sentries, and the carriers are on their way over. He sees the carriers, and he turns around. And he goes home and takes the third base and starts making Vikings. Imagine how the game would have looked then if he didn't lose all of his Marines. Then Hongen's carrier attack comes, if it comes at all. There are a lot of Marines. He can shoot down the interceptors very quickly. He's already got Vikings as well, and he's going to have more bunkers up. He'll have more units in general to hold that next attack. He didn't actually have to win with that attack or even do damage. He was trying to punish Hongen because he saw with the scan they didn't have very many units. He was trying to punish Hongen for what he wasn't yet sure of what Hongen had done. He was like, well, for some reason, you have very few units. I think he was thinking you went DTs. You don't have very many units. You only have a few sentries here. And I don't know why you don't have very many units, but I'm going to find out. And he just like went up the ramp, and he was like, oh, carriers.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to kill this
I don't
Nexus.
think he was expecting that.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing, too, is that if you do pull back like that, then Hongen just takes a third of his own and just keeps making carriers. And what do you do when there's like 10 carriers out, you know?
Well, you make more starports and make more Vikings.
I guess.
You know, in the late game, carriers versus Vikings is actually like Vikings actually destroy carriers.
Yeah, once you get enough Vikings out, it's true. But that's the thing. You have to dedicate so much to Vikings. And, you know, the strength of Protoss, too, is you can just add on some more gateways, suddenly switch over to a very heavy gateway composition, maybe take advantage of it that way, too.
Well, here's our current results. Oz and JYP are number 1 and 2 right now, and they're actually going to be playing against each other next. And if Oz wins, then he will actually be guaranteed a Code S spot. So
yeah. And
he's one win away, man. I think I said before, I think he's the favorite of the group, and I really just think the other Prosses who have thrown in here with him are just not as good as he is, and Keen and Yuki are just not on the same level either.
Well, this game that we're about to see, Oz versus JYP, is going to be such an interesting PvP because this is actually a Code A rematch. These guys met up in Code A. I feel like JYP played some of the worst games I've ever seen him play in that series, actually.
Yeah, things did not go well for him there.
Yeah,
he wanted to go for a Phoenix build in one game, and Oz just pressured him really with a nice timing, and he was like, well, I guess I'll just make a Void Ray now, and that got a little out of control. And Antigua, I remember that game. I don't remember how the other game went exactly. I think it was just the standard. Oz just went for 4 gates and killed JYP.
Basically, don't take any sort of indication of how this game is going to go from that series, too, because JYP was not playing at his best. He's been playing pretty well today, I'd say. We'll have to see how he does. Metalopolis.
It is Metalopolis, one of our old school ladder maps, no longer a ladder map, sadly.
I like Metalopolis.
I do too, man. I like it so much. There's 2 statues of me on this map, actually. And I am lurking around the other map.
You were there way before the tasteless spot and the Artosis spot.
Yeah, man, I've been here a while.
Well, here we go, guys. Another PvP at the Up and Downs. Who's going up, who's going down?
I don't know why, but something about that Oz picture just looks like a badass. Like, he really does, man. Like, he just does. He's got that
cool
old
guy.
Boyu jacket on.
He's a cool guy, but first we have to look at
JYP.
Oz. Actually is a really fun guy. We hang out a lot with him in real life.
Yeah, man.
He's a fun dude.
I used to be on this team, and I've lived with this guy quite a bit. He's just a fun personality.
Yeah, we lived with him for a while. Well, here he is, down at the bottom of the map. You've heard his name before, but just in case you forgot, it's... You know, when I saw them zoom in on that little Zealot figurine before the game, I thought of that. Something I saw on Reddit earlier today was a picture of a Zealot. It said, trained for 50 years, warp in between gateway and gateway and pylon. Dang it, I messed it up. I'm sorry, guys. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I can't think today. Basically, it was making fun of how Zealots get stuck between.
Yeah, trust me.
It was a lot funnier. Go to Reddit. There's funny things there.
Everyone who's lived with me over these past few months while I've been laddering has heard me yell in agony whenever my stalker gets caught, and I usually say the same phrase. It's 2011, and I can't believe units still get stuck out of production facilities in this game.
Well, you can only blame yourself, Wolf.
I know, man. I just got to build my buildings better, but it happens to me sometimes, and I'm like, really? I rallied it the other way. Why did this happen?
Well, a lot earlier Cybercore for Oz than JYP as well.
Yeah.
What do you think caused that? I wasn't really paying attention. I don't know Protoss quite as well as you do.
He cut a probe by the looks of things.
Okay.
I believe he cut a probe.
Didn't want to guess.
And he's actually got a ton of chrono energy saved up. He's gone up to 80 energy right now.
Okay.
Whereas JYP, on the other hand, has used an extra chrono, so he's about 25 chrono behind. So Oz looks like he wants to put on a 4-gate, or at least he wants his opponent to think that. He hasn't taken a second gas. JYP is scouted. He's shown the chrono. He's also made a zealot. You don't always make a zealot, but if you're going to 4-gate, you in most cases
normally
make that zealot.
would, yeah. Now, JYP is doing some scouting. He's going to avoid that zealot. And he's
actually going to do an offensive
probe.
gas. Oh!
Okay.
Oz blocked him. He tried to do an offensive gas.
That was a close one. And the probe for Oz, not really trying too hard to get into the base. Actually, he's going to pull the zealot out of that possibly. Because when you do that, when you just poke up to kind of see where your opponent is and then pull the probe away, that makes your opponent think, okay, what's he doing now? Why didn't he actually
cancel this gas? No. Adds 2 gateways, and I think we're going to see that same expand build out of Oz.
Yeah, we certainly could.
And this is a build that's becoming more popular right now on the Korean server. There's all sorts of different expand builds that are growing in popularity right now. The most common one you see on Shakuris and Antigua, it's a build that you do with a forge. You go gate, core, and you make a forge, and you just kind of do an expansion like that. It's kind of risky, but it's become really popular. And other builds like the one Oz is doing have become more popular as well. Uh-oh, this Stalker is going to have to do some crazy micro to get out of here.
Yeah, that's right. So you need a Twister to carry him away to another land where he's not going to immediately die.
Oh, Oz is going to make a pylon here.
Yeah, looks like he's kind of trying to fake his opponent out a little bit because we know that he's not going for any sort of 4-gate. But, that Stalker is actually going to escape, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he
wow.
is. And guess what? That Zealot is in the base, and that pylon's going to finish. He can warp in 3 Zealots right now.
Oh, man.
Will he do it?
We've seen Oz win games with just 3 gates as well, so look at that.
JYP attacking his own pylon because he thought it was Oz's.
What?
With those probes.
Oh, man, I don't know what it is. I think Oz is just JYP's kryptonite, man.
I think you're right. So many probes being taken out here. Meanwhile, though, the 2 units of JYP have sneaked into Oz's main.
Yeah,
one Zealot and 1 Stalker,
problem,
but he can just warp in units to defend.
Yeah.
So many probes being taken out here.
Quite a few. Trying to mineral walk a little bit. 1 Zealot left doing some damage to that Stalker, and like we said, this is going to be cleaned up really easily. And Oz, he just has a really, he just has some way of doing damage with this 3-gate.
Yeah, I think JYP made that pylon there smartly because it helps block the Zealots, but then he attacked it with his probes because he got a little bit stressed out there.
Yeah.
Now Oz is forced to make a few sentries back at home because he knows the repercussions to this can be quite dangerous. If opponent tries to warp in a few units and then attack him, it'll be hard for him to hold that.
That's true. You don't have to worry about the counterattack.
We are going to see a Nexus from Oz pretty soon.
Oh, I agree. I've seen him do this build before. He puts on that pressure with the 3 gateways, and then he expands. There's the Nexus for JYP.
JYP's Nexus. But yeah, this is actually a really smart move by JYP because he also predicts that Oz will be making a Nexus.
Yep,
and in this case, Oz has made a lot of sentries. In fact, making a few more units just to be safe. And actually, Oz is going to scout to see if his opponent's made a Nexus before he makes his. I like this. Also sending a probe out so that he can put a little bit more pressure on. And right now, with the way the supply is and with the amount of units that Oz has, he actually could kill JYP with this attack if he decides to commit to it.
Yeah, I don't know. This is so strange from JYP because we know what a solid player he is, but it just seems like every time he plays Oz, he has a really hard time.
Nexus goes down for Oz. JYP scouts it with his probe. Meanwhile, though, this push from Oz could be quite strong. With the amount of sentries Oz has, he can probably force a cancel on the Nexus of JYP.
Yeah,
he absolutely will. And if he traps his units outside, it could be even worse.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. That is going to get canceled. Even putting down a pylon there as well. Now, JYP is going to get a good scout of Oz's base, but all he's going to scout is that he's behind.
Yeah. One pylon goes down inside of Oz's base with that probe as well. May decide to try to use that to force Oz to warp in his next round of units at home.
Yep, not sure if Oz noticed that, though. It looks like he didn't actually notice it.
He didn't see it, but he does warp in a Stalker at home.
Nexus was canceled by JYP. Up at the top, we can see that there.
And now Oz can actually just go home with those units. He can continue to force field contain if he wants. And JYP is forced at this point to make a robotics support bay. Or a warp prism. He decides to make the robotics bay instead.
There's really not a lot else you can do. I mean, it's a little bit too late to go Twilight Council or something like that. Expanding is going to be really late. So now he's kind of stuck to trying to do this one base push against an Oz, an FXO Oz that's really well prepared to handle that.
And Oz is actually just going to drop another force field and then leave. Does not want to try to contain, because sometimes things can get risky, things can get iffy if you do that. In this case, he would have been totally fine to just keep forcing him, but he doesn't know that, so he's going to get out of there. His Nexus is now mining. Zealot's running into the main base of Oz, though, from that pylon.
He never did find the pylon. This is something that's going to be a little bit worrisome.
But he does have enough units to clean this up. He's actually just going to have to wait for a few more to come in here. And one pylon will fall, not empowering anything. Yeah. And he's actually going to lose a second pylon by the looks of things here. So nice little harassment by JYP. He got a little bit lucky with that pylon placement. Nice micro on his Zealots as well.
All right, now we're starting to see JYP play a little bit better. It's, he did some damage with it, not a huge amount, but he did some. And of course, Oz knows right where that pylon is, so he's going to go and take that out.
Well, let me give you guys some numbers. Right now, supply is a little bit ahead for Oz, but he has a 100 minerals and 400 gas more army as far as army values go. His worker count is exactly the same as his opponent's, but he's got that extra production with that Nexus. From here, I can't imagine a situation in which JYP can win this. Well, he's going to try to poke up here using that Observer to pit these pylons, but look at this. Oz can already push his forces back. He doesn't have a Nexus. He can't make Colossi. He doesn't have the economy to do so. If he does, it doesn't matter because Oz is going to have so much more production that one Colossus isn't going to matter. There's that one Colossus right now.
Yeah.
And it's just not a good situation. Nice force fields, though. He's going to catch two of these Stalkers.
Yep. Oz is very, very sentry heavy right now, so in terms of raw damage output, JYP is going to be about even despite him having, a few less.
Very true. That's actually a very good point. That's why the Colossus comes so much into play in this type of situation.
But
he needs two. Oh no, an Immortal getting caught for Oz here. He's actually just going to do the max amount of damage. Takes out a Stalker, make it two.
And I was going to say, too, I think there's a slim chance that JYP might have a little bit of a timing here where he can do some damage to Oz with this.
We can definitely damage these pylons, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We're going to have to see if he can make this really work, though. He actually warped another round of sentries. Oz is going to attack from two different angles here.
Yeah.
He's going to go for it. Here he goes, forcing some of these units off.
Force field's going down for both players here.
A lot of the Zealots of JYP going down, which is really unfortunate because he needs those Zealots to tank the damage for his Colossi.
Yeah.
Oz making two more pylons back at home, knowing he's losing some pylons here near the edge of his ramp, and JYP may be forced to turn around. But he does have a lot of Zealots. Good force fields here. Guardian shield on everything for Oz.
Yeah, really nice force fields.
And that one Immortal may just turn the tide.
We'll see, man.
Oh, the Immortal's actually able to hit the Colossus hit for hit.
The Colossi is so low right now.
12 hit points left on that Colossus.
JYP have enough Stalkers. One Stalker shot would kill it. And somehow, some way, JYP is pushing back FXO Oz.
Oz is going to have to pull probes here, and that's why that Colossus being alive is so important. Only has 5 hit points left now.
Oh, man. And he's going to try to do some harassment. He needs to be pretty careful with this guy. I mean,
that Colossus is the bravest Colossus I've ever seen, man. He should get a medallion of courage from the wizard himself.
Yeah.
That's not the cowardly lion Colossus right there.
Whoa! Shields are nice to have sometimes.
Yes, they are, man. JYP in such a good spot here, even though he doesn't have a Nexus. He just has the better army, and he will continue to have the better army, hoping to unpower this robotics, but does not.
That didn't work out too well.
We'll get this pylon, though, and the Immortal pops out and kills the Colossus. Now Oz may have this game, but it's still going to be close.
Yeah. This is actually one of the closest PvPs I've seen in a long time. JYP really making the most of everything here, but he's going to need to control this so well.
I think he spent a little bit too much. Oh, he spent way too much on attacking that robotics, wasting way too much Stalker fire. The probe's coming off, but they don't even have to fight here. I think this is actually going to be it. Oz will hold this.
Yeah, losing those Zealots is a big deal. Now, if you look back there, see, check it out. JYP expanding himself. So he's actually just going to turn around after this. He's not going to press it. It's not an all-in situation really for JYP, but he is going to be significantly behind economy-wise. Actually, no, take a
All right, we'll take a look at the worker count. 29 to 29.
probes. So
But slightly better saturation for Oz, plus double probe production that he's going to have right now. That JYP will not. Of course, right now he's actually not using that. He's actually cut probes entirely. He's mining only gas from his main rather than mining from his natural. And remember, the most important thing about this, remember with PvP, is the most important things to remember are unit counts and tech. Probe count is always very insignificant. In this case, there's Colossus tech out for JYP, and Oz doesn't even have a robo. In fact, if JYP wanted to go to Dark Shrine, for example, he wouldn't have a robo, so Oz has to make that robo very soon.
Yeah, that's
He's actually not remaking. He's going to attack here, and JYP actually is going to gain somewhat of an advantage here the longer he can survive. And look at this. JYP getting a much better engagement here, but the Zealots for JYP not actually able to fight because they're attacking Stalkers that are surrounded by the force fields. And that actually gave Oz the better trade there, but remember that Colossus is out, and another Immortal is making for JYP.
Yeah, PvP is so different without Blink. I mean, you see Force Field so many times, like, oh, no problem, you can just blink out of it. Neither of these guys have Blink yet, so those Force Fields are so important.
I don't know if this is a good place for Oz to engage, but he's going to try it.
He's got a lot of Zealots. I mean, he does have that, and there's not a lot of sentries for JYP, so this could work
JYP
out.
has an even number of Zealots, actually having a little bit more Zealots, in fact. A really good position here for Oz, but the Colossus is doing so much damage.
Oh, man.
Oh, this is really bad for Oz. He's going to lose so much here during his retreat.
Definitely needs to make a run for it here.
He's trying to engage just a little bit here because he knows the Colossus doesn't have range. More units being warped in for Oz back at his main. He's going to try to join up with his forces. The Immortal trying to kite here, but Immortals cannot really kite Zealots, unfortunately, for Oz.
It looks like JYP is going to just chase him all the way home.
Yeah, he definitely will, and he may be able to end the game at that point. Oz warping in a few more units. He does have his robotics remade. He's trying to make an Immortal there.
Oh, here we go. Trying to save that Immortal, basically.
Oh, and JYP actually goes for the pylon, separating some of his Zealots here. This gives opportunity to Oz to pick off some of these Zealots. He's going to... This is a complicated dance, man.
It is. It is.
Another Immortal popping out for Oz. It's going to be really helpful, but remember there's an Immortal in JYP's army as well, and he's got such a high Zealot count. With good micro, though, Oz should be able to pick off some of those Zealots. Will he try to commit to it, though? Remember, the Colossus does not have range.
Where's the Colossus going, by the way? He's getting a little bit separated here. Okay, from the army. Oh, Oz put a pylon right next to JYP's base in the middle of all this. JYP has no idea some Zealots could get warped in here. Oh, they already have been,
support bay for Oz being made actually at his natural. A very risky move, and no. One player goes one way, the other player goes the other way, and Oz actually decides to turn around. He's actually made the executive decision, I am going to go home.
All right, well, we'll see if he can make it count. He's going to lose the robotics facility.
Robotics facility goes down. He had to cancel his robotics support bay as well, but Oz may catch JYP in an awkward angle here.
Yeah. He's going to have to come up the ramp now. Killing that RoboBay was so useful.
He's remade it again, this time still remaking it at his natural. It's a very risky place to make it when your opponent's got an army at your doorstep.
Yeah, these guys still so even on supply, too. 108 to 102 right now.
Guardian Shield goes up for JYP. Guardian Shield for Oz as well. Stalker's getting caught by Zealots, but remember, the Zealots cannot engage afterwards, so he has to pull everything back. But a fairly decent trade for JYP. Is pulling ahead in supply until this Warpin hits. 3 more Stalkers, and the Zealot coming in for Oz. Oz has also remade that pylon at the third base of JYP, so he could do some counter pressure if he wants to. And JYP actually goes home. He's going to lose his pylon here.
Yeah, Oz making his third robotics facility of the game. Just finished right now, and he's starting another Immortal, getting a robotics bay right away.
JYP has started another Colossus, but I really feel that JYP should invest in range. He could have done so much more, even with that first Colossus with range. He's got 2 Colossi now, though.
You know, at this point, I wonder if he forgot about it, honestly. I mean, he's seeing it in the fight every time the Colossus shoots, but...
Well, he absolutely hasn't forgot about it. He's just, he knows that, like, that 200, spending on that range that he might not be able to use in the battle that decides the game. He just can't commit to it. It's a hard decision to make, but he's made that choice. He's got so many Zealots here. Right now, he's got a total of 17 Zealots to only the 9 of Oz.
Yep, third Colossus comes out right now.
I think JYP could have actually ended the game right there, but he's being a little bit indecisive. And he's trying to be smart and safe here, but he's giving Oz the opportunity as Oz's robotic support bay is now done. He can start making Colossi.
Well, there's range for JYP, so that's going to help out quite a bit. That's
going to be so significant.
A lot earlier. He's going to have the Colossus count. You know, I kept saying, JYP is a really good Protoss player. He's a good PvPer as well. He had a really shaky start this game again. I thought we were going to see another game like we did in Code A between these two, but JYP really pulling it together here. This is a very close game.
Yeah, this is very close. Range being started for Oz as well. He's chrono boosting it to try to keep even with his opponent. He actually killed that pylon, gets out of here now. Going to actually be able to keep the majority of his units out of here. Some force fields being dropped by JYP to try to catch these. Oz actually started to pull ahead and supply it a little bit, but remember now there's 3 Colossi and range is dangerously close to finishing.
Well, you might even kind of, see he's going up on the high ground. He's going to buy a little bit of time until range finishes.
Yeah, then he's going to go, and that may be the timing that ends this game. Remember, guys, JYP has 16 Zealots. That's 4 more than Oz, and that 4 is so significant, but more significant than that is it's 4 Colossus to 1, 3 being with the main army of JYP right now. Here we go!
Oh, the Colossi!
Oh, man, this is a terrible place for JYP to engage. This is just what Oz needs!
Oh, man, terrible engagement for JYP, losing a Colossi without doing any damage.
This is just what Oz needed, man. Now he's got 1 Colossus out of his own. His range is almost done.
Yeah.
JYP pulls back. Oz has a 2nd Colossus on the way now.
Zealot Strike Force on the way here. And they might be able to do a little bit of damage.
Oh, they absolutely will. Zealots being warped in for JYP, but only 3 Zealots. Those Zealots may buy enough time.
Yeah, it'll at least kind of make him wait a bit. But yeah, he's still going to lose a good amount of probes here with this. And Oz is coming up from behind with the attack as well. Came from behind.
He came from behind, man. He definitely did. And actually, this is going to be a bad engagement for Oz, but he realizes it and pulls back. Remember, during all this, Oz has had no observer. He has had no way of positioning his army better than his opponent other than instinct.
Whoa,
he's actually done all of this on instinct. He has no observer whatsoever.
And a 3rd Nexus from Oz as well. This, I don't know. I love watching Oz play PvP.
Right now, the worker count is 43 probes for Oz, 27 of JYP.
Yeah.
JYP is okay because his main is mined out. He's not actually, he's not like losing saturation right now. He's only got the one Nexus. He's going to have another one before he can really make that probe count matter.
Well, the Zealot Warpins has been taking their toll.
Oh no, this is a bad place for Oz to engage. He has to get out.
It's so hard to engage properly on this map, too. All the chokes are very narrow.
Oh man, Oz is trying to figure out the best way to engage. He's actually going to fight here with a better concave.
Not bad at all, but the
Immortal's not really firing. Yeah, this losses count much better for JYP.
Oh, yeah, 4-2. I think this is looking pretty good for TSL
but
JYP
the Colossus for Oz actually rejoins here, and Oz has so many Immortals. There's no more Zealots. The force fields of JYP may have sealed his own fate because he could not engage with his Zealots. And now Oz is pushing JYP back. I think Oz is actually going to go 3-0 in this up and down match today, Toa.
I think you're absolutely right, but we'll see. It's still pretty close. Larger stalker count, though, for Oz. The probes coming off the line. Yeah, I think that's going to be it.
That is going to be about it, man. All the probes fall here.
Yeah.
And he's trying to push him back. Looks like he will be pushed back just slightly here.
Oh, wow.
2 Colossus against 2 Colossus, but another Colossus coming to join in.
Close.
4 more Stalkers warping in for Oz. Oz can go home. He's got a 3rd Nexus.
Oh, this is bad for JYP.
Yeah, this is not looking good for JYP.
Got a little bit too aggressive with those Colossi. And he just can't bring in enough units to stop this at this point.
Yeah, that's it. 2 Colossus fall.
That is going to be it.
GG.
Wow.
And GG it was.
That was close PvP, man. And
the second close PvP we've seen in these past 2 days.
Yeah. How about FXO Oz, though? He deserves to be in Code S. I definitely think that pretty heartbreaking for JYP. He really tried his best, had a rocky start there, made some mistakes. I mean, it really looks like he kind of had the nerves be a bit of a factor here, I'd say.
Well, in The Wizard of Oz, the wizard gives the lion a badge of courage and says he's now a member of some sort of club or something. Anyway, the point is, though, in this case, Oz actually in that last battle, he donned his badge of courage, and he attacked. And you know what? JYP actually should have won that fight. But he dropped force fields, which eliminated the ability for his Zealots to tank damage. Oz microed his Colossi better. That 3rd Colossus came in, and with all the Zealots gone, he just had a better Stalker count. And the Immortals just demolished everything they fired at.
I really thought it looked better for JYP. I didn't notice the amount of Immortals in there. But
yeah.
Yeah.
And with the force fields there, JYP rendered his own Zealots useless. And at that point, it just didn't matter.
It's like a story that we're going to tell our grandkids.
When you go Colossi, Zealots are so important for tanking damage when your opponent also has Colossi. And so in this case, that was the one advantage JYP always had. He had a better Zealot count throughout that entire game, and he just, at that last battle, was not quite able to make it work. His force fields worked against him, and Oz had the better concave at that one battle, and they were just dancing for position, just like we saw yesterday, guys.
Yeah.
And Oz is now 3-0, and he's going to be getting a Code S medallion today.
Yeah, that's actually so impressive. This guy coming out of nowhere, getting all the way to the Code A finals immediately, getting right into Code S. You know, he's one of the players that we're going to definitely need to watch in the coming months.
So, you know, I've been watching this guy for a while. I'm really proud of him. I'm actually so excited to say this. I mean, I remember the first time I watched Oz play PvP at the Code A qualifiers, the first Code A qualifiers we had as teammates. I watched him play, and he lost a PvP and was eliminated there. I think he lost a Classic Prime. But anyway, I watched him play, and I was like, his PvP is actually okay, but I feel like he really needs to work on it. And it's been probably about 2 to 3 months now since that day, and I look at him now and I say, wow, he's come a long way. Beating JYP of all people in PvP to get his Code S spot.
JYP's no slouch, man. I mean, you mentioned, though, that Oz was making a lot of good decisions, you know, from his gut, you know? He didn't have a lot of information.
He had
was
instinct
just
only.
Yeah. He's got that star sense, you know? I mean, there's some players that are just good because their mechanics are so good, you know, and they know, oh, if I see this, I do this. You know, if I see this, I do this. But then there's other players, and I think Oz is a good example of that play, you know, from their heart, I guess. You know, they've got the star sense.
Only a wizard can outposition his opponent in PvP when his opponent has an observer following his army.
You know why that is?
Why is that?
Wizards can teleport.
Oh. I actually thought it was just because he had awesome star sense.
Well, that too.
I was like, I don't know, man. I don't think his Colossus army teleported. What are you talking about, Doa?
No, well, sometimes.
But Colossi used to be able to walk across the space in the Scrap Station. But that's the only power they've ever had other than to be able to destroy small ground targets.
That's true. Hagen looks like he's pretty tired. You know, he did just get back from good old US of A.
Yeah, it's a very unfortunate timing for Hagen to have to play these up and downs.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's been a tough day for him, definitely. I mean, he's already, you know, given us a really memorable game. And the thing is, I mean, in terms of like longevity for StarCraft 2, you know, in time, people are going to forget who moved up and who moved down today, but they're going to remember that game, you know?
They will remember that
That's kind
game.
of a cool thing as well, is that if you can play a game like that, I almost feel like that cements your name in StarCraft 2 history more than, you know, winning tournaments in time. So cool to kind of have that under your belt, I guess.
Absolutely. We're having Hagen versus Yu-Gi-Oh! Hagen's 1-2. Yu-Gi-Oh's 1-1. This is extremely important for Hagen. Can he come back here at the GSL up and down matches? Or will Yu-Gi-Oh! Activate a trap card and remove him from play? Let's find out.